Well, it may not be just his microphone. Chris America was probably up late last night watching some college football because I was doing the same thing.
Chris America is looking at a clock that is 4 minutes slow and too tired to remember that it's 4 minutes slow. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I got 4 minutes to jump on. Let me just keep scrolling through what I'm doing. And then it hit me. I'm like, wait a minute. If it's if it's 5:57 on this clock, it's 6:01 on the other clock. And Loudbeard has already introduced me because you usually introduce me at 6 o'clock and 30 seconds.
There we go. See, like a robot. I'm very
Yeah.
mechanical.
You are very
Um,
mechanical, and I always know that stove clock is off by 4 minutes, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just been a long week for me or what, but my brain didn't click that's the wrong time, Chris America. Don't look at it that way. So, but I'm here.
okay, well, welcome. Yeah, you were only off by about 10 or 15 seconds. You were pretty close. I
Yep,
actually
yep.
started the show a couple minutes or a couple seconds late, which is very uncharacteristic. But I'm sitting here and I'm really working hard at trying to gather the perfect list for our draft. Every Friday do our fantasy draft right here on Scout Team Radio, and this Friday our draft is going to be electric like lightning, like rain, like wind, like fire, like a hurricane, isn't it, Chris America?
It is, and it's gonna help some of you people that are not from Florida. It's gonna help you when you do decide to move to Florida because you know it's going to happen. For whatever reason, all of you up north, you want to come down here and take part in our joyful state. And you're the ones that fill up 10 gas tanks a week before a hurricane gets here. You're the one that empties out all of the water from the grocery stores. I went to the grocery store yesterday to get a couple of things like some dog food and stuff. Walked by that water aisle completely empty, Loudbeard. Just barren. I should have taken a picture of it.
And I've been through some hurricanes, and it's not like water is that hard to come by. I don't know. People just lose their mind. Like, I need to be able to live for 6 months just in case. Like, yeah, you want to live off 6 months worth of water? Okay, all right. Well, and I'm a little desensitized, Chris Mary. I've been through quite a few hurricanes. Like yourself, I've been in Florida for a very very long time. And we've been through quite a few of these things, and I'm very desensitized.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy running into somebody that is new to Florida because they're freaking out, right? Like I've never been through a hurricane before. It's gonna be bad. What do I do? Help! I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird tightrope we have to walk, right? Because it's not like people don't suffer from these things in Florida. Like there are a lot of people who get hit hard and they're devastated and we should take it seriously. But for the majority of us, it really is like the power going out is the worst part.
Oh yeah, because it's so hot outside. It just makes it where it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like yeah, the power going out's the worst part. I think the worst hurricane I was through was Charlie in '04, and that one was a bunch of trees down,
Yeah.
power down. I think I was without power at my house for like 3 or 4 days, which was probably lesser than most people in the state. I remember there being like 2 years after the storm, you could still see just blue tarps all over the city because roofs were absolutely destroyed. So it can be very devastating, and we don't want to see anybody lose lives or anything like that. I mean, I don't want to take it too lightly, but
Yeah,
you're
I
right. We
remember.
also have had 10 false alarms since then, haven't we?
Yeah. I don't remember what hurricane it was last year, but I call it the armpit of Florida just because of the way Florida is shaped. That little crevice or that little crook in the arm of Florida, like a hurricane went straight up through there, through the Gulf, and just devastated some town there. I can't remember what it was called, though. Just utterly wiped it out. And I get there's like people on certain income levels. I just will never understand why people own manufactured homes or trailer homes here in Florida, because that's usually what you see that gets devastated. Same with the tornado alley places that the most devastation comes from those There's not well put together homes that 100-mile to 140-mile-hour winds just kind of knock over. And then Loudbeard, we also are blessed enough to live inland. A lot of the devastation you see on the news in Florida are those coastal areas where the storm is at its most powerful. And if you've never watched a storm or don't know anything about hurricanes, hurricanes, when they're over water, they are at their strongest, especially warm water. And then once they hit land, the second they hit land is when they start to get weak. It's kind of like a car. Once you buy a car, the value depreciates instantly, and that's kind of the way it is for a hurricane. And then the longest it stays over land, or the more land it has to cross, especially if there's mountains and everything. Kind of sounds bad, but we like it to go over Cuba because Cuba has these massive mountains, and it kind of weakens the storm a lot for us. Sounds selfish because it means the Cubans have to go through it a lot, but it's generally better for a lot of people if it goes through Cuba and not like just over just nothing but ocean until it gets to the United States.
Yeah, it's a bad way to look at it, but you're kind of right. You're kind of right.
Yeah.
You do
I'm not
want
hoping
it to hit
bad
a little
for the
landfall.
Cubans. I'm just saying the science of it is if it goes over a mountainous area like Cuba has, it weakens the storm tremendously.
This is absolutely true. And you're right. We're inland. We're not in those flood zones. We're in pretty good shape here. So anyway, listen out there. If you're worried about us being in this hurricane, I think we're gonna be okay. We're gonna hunker down. We're gonna take it serious, but
Yeah.
we're gonna be all right.
Now,
I do worry about our coastal friends. Our friends that live
right,
over on
yeah.
the coast. It could be bad.
Yep. And they have it the worst because they don't know where the storm's going to hit. Like the direct hit starts. It could be as far as like from like Daytona all the way down to the Cape Canaveral, which if you're not from Florida, that's like an hour drive. It's several miles of people that you have to worry about where the direct hit is going to be, where that devastation is going to be the most. I mean, we're going to get hit by some of it no matter what. It's just we're not going to get the worst of it.
Yeah, and this is the part yesterday that started getting everybody freaked out. They come out and they announce that Hurricane Dorian could strengthen into a Category 4 storm before hitting Florida. And that's the headline, and that's what's being told all over the news. Well, what that turned into in the hysteria part of it is everybody's like, this is a Category 4 hurricane. I need to correct everybody. I'm sorry if you're one of those people. This is not a Category 4 hurricane. This is a hurricane that could develop into a Category 4, but we don't know if it will. We're just going off of what the best guess of these weathermen and weatherwomen are telling us. And I've seen many storms come through where they keep telling us it's going to be a Category 4, and it comes to landfall, and it's a 2. So we just need to make sure we aren't completely going hysterical and saying, oh, it is a Category 4. No, we think it may get that strong, but you don't really know until it gets a little bit closer.
Yeah, it'll hit landfall as a 2, and then within 30 minutes, it's a 1. Because, again, like we said, once it hits that, threshold of land, it weakens a lot. Now, I will tell our listeners this. When we get off the air, we will honestly tell you we don't know if we'll be live on Monday. We don't know if we'll be live on Tuesday. I have a feeling we'll probably take Monday off because that's when the hurricane is going to be hitting. We don't know if we'll be live on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because either myself or Loudbeard could be without power, could be staying in a hotel that doesn't have Wi-Fi. Like, we don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. Like, our houses can be fine, but we'll be without power. And then once the power goes out, it's your guess as good as mine as to when you're going to get it back on.
Yeah. So we might take a year off. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is that a little too excessive?
Did we ever... I had a joke there, but I decided against it.
Okay. It's probably for the best. So, Chris America, did we even describe what this hurricane draft was? Because I feel like we got into the hurricane. Did you say it? I can't even remember now.
I don't think we did. It's going to be a hurricane. Do you want to be a hurricane supply or hurricane party list? It's a hurricane party list, right?
Hurricane party list, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a good...
Things you should be buying instead of, 15 things of Zephyr Hills water.
Man, you need water. It's the essence of life. Everybody needs water to live,
Yeah.
Chris America. Don't give them bad advice. don't tell our listeners not to go out and buy water when they live in these really close to the hurricane zones. Everybody go out and buy water. But what else you should be buying is going to be on our draft list later this morning. We're going to go and get into that on the second half of the show. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, I can't do it any longer, Chris America. I got to talk to you about this. Football was back again last night, and it feels absolutely amazing. I DVR'd the UCF game because I think I had mentioned on the show I did have to coach my daughter's volleyball game. So I got home and I got to watch all of the game, and I was absolutely excited. UCF stomps Florida A&M, which we kind of expected. But, yeah, football is back, and it's feeling absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so Loudbeard, how do you feel about Wimbush?
Yeah, I think I get what Mike Berlon was saying about the disappointed part. So watching the game, the biggest disappointment before I get into the Wimbush thing was the injury to Brandon Moore, a really great cornerback, defensive back for this UCF team, has a bad knee injury, so that's the worst part. So I wish him a speedy recovery. It looked like his knee bent in ways that it shouldn't, so that's always scary. So hopefully, I haven't seen the diagnosis yet. I'm sure there's going to be some testing and everything today, so I hope a speedy recovery to him. So other than that, we got to talk about the quarterback situation. So they have two quarterbacks they run out. They've got the freshman in Dylan Gabriel and then Brandon Wimbush, who's the starter. And I have to say, Chris America, I like what Wimbush brings with his legs. I think it's really good for this team because we have a dynamic running back posse. I'm going to say that. I was going to say trio, but it's really like 4 or 5 really quality running backs back there. So having a running quarterback that can move with his legs, that's a good thing. But you got to be able to pass the ball, man. He had like 2 or 3 really wide open receivers that he overthrew. Those are passes you can't miss in these really critical big games. If you're going up against, if they make a bowl game and they're going up against an LSU again or going up against a really quality opponent, you can't miss out on those opportunities because they will come back to haunt you. And Wimbush's accuracy, kind of like how it haunted him at Notre Dame, is already on display at UCF. Now, there's some chemistry that needs to be built up with the wide receivers. I get that. There's some timing issues. He hasn't really spent a lot of time with this team. But when the youngster, Dylan Gabriel, came in, his accuracy looked pinpoint compared to Wimbush's, which it was a little, I got a little nervous when I was watching him throw the ball.
Yeah, and his thing was he was overthrowing the receivers, so maybe he's not used to the speed that UCF has, so he feels like he has to throw the ball further than normal because he feels like these guys can go underneath and get anything. But he even overthrew that jump pass in the end zone towards the end of the half. I'm like, how do you overthrow that ball? You just, like, toss it up like it's a free throw. Like, come on. But Gabriel looked solid. There's a reason why Gabriel broke not only Mackenzie Milton's records in Hawaii, but Tua Tagovailoa's records in Hawaii. The kid is good, and I think you just run with Gabriel. You tell Wimbush, thanks for transferring. We gave you your shot. You missed. You said 3 or 4. I feel like it was 4 or 5 times. He missed guys downfield, just overthrowing them. And we gave you your shot, man, and you're still that guy that just can't complete over 55% of your passes. And we can't have that.
Yeah, it's a tough way to look at it, but I see what they were doing. They gave Wimbush a start. I mean, he's a veteran guy that has won a lot of games in his career, and that's a good thing. And you're bringing along this freshman who can redshirt if he plays less than 4 games. And the TV announcers talked about that quite a bit. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know if we want him to redshirt. We might need him. Like, why do we have to really think about him redshirting? With the new rules, you can play up to 4 games and still redshirt. And I'm thinking, nah, he's already played 1. I think we're going to need him. So let's keep him ready. Now, I did think, well, maybe the offensive coordinator's got to get a little creative. Maybe Coach Heupel's got to get a little creative. We do an old, was it the old Chris Leak, Tim Tebow combo? You remember that one?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we do that with the Dylan Gabriel and the Brandon Wimbush combo. The only problem is Wimbush typically is going to run the ball when he's in, but I don't know that that would be a bad idea. You got to do like a little 1-2 punch. With their powers combined, they could be a Mackenzie Milton.
Yeah, and but the defenses, when they see him in there, they're just going to creep up because they know if they let a receiver go, he's not going to be able to complete a pass to him.
Yeah. And it's funny, my wife went to the game, and she texted me, I think it was at like the end of the first quarter. She's like, man, they don't look good. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I got it on DVR. I text her back and say, please don't tell me anything. Like, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Because now I go into the game, like, why would you tell me that? So she goes on silence after that, and so I'm good. So I go and watch the game, and I'm like, they didn't look that bad. I think what she's talking about is Brandon Wimbush overthrowing the damn ball. Yeah, that didn't look good. You're right. Like, you missed opportunities, UCF, because of him. And I had high hopes. I was optimistic, but now I see where there's a little skepticism there. And I get it. But this offense, 62-0 is the final score. The offense with the running backs of Adrian Killens and Otis Anderson and Greg McCrae, they look like they're going to be fairly unstoppable as long as they figure out which quarterback's going to be that quarterback that can help lead them in those crucial moments. And, I'd have to lean towards Gabriel after seeing what I saw last night.
Yeah. It was funny because I thought the same thing, too, after the first quarter, after the first half. And I used to play NCAA football a lot, and I know this feeling that your wife had and that UCF fans have, and probably Coach Heupel has, where you have a really good team, you're playing against a really crappy team, and you're up 34-0 at halftime, or 41-0 at halftime.
I thought it was 48 at half. Wasn't it?
Was
48?
It 48 at half?
They scored at the last second.
Oh, that's right. They did get that touchdown in. They punched it in with on fourth down, right?
Yeah, 48-0 at half.
Yeah, and yet somehow
and
you're like
crap.
Yet somehow you're just like, man, actually the whole team looked good. It's just that quarterback, man. It could have been 65-0 at half if he would have hit those open wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. So it was a great game to watch. It was a good tune-up game, and now I get why some of these teams like to play cupcake games week one, because it is you're figuring out what your team's all about. And I don't know if it was much of a. I guess it's hard to judge it on this, but the defense. No points scored. They look solid. I think they said 9 out of the 10 first drives were 3-and-outs. I don't know if it's the talent of Florida A&M or if the defense is actually that good. It's really hard to tell.
It's probably a little bit of both. This is the problem with playing these games. Game one is the only way you can know. The only thing you can judge is if your team is bad. Because if your team struggles against a team like this, then you know your team is bad. If your team does well against a team like this, it's hard to know if they're bad, they're okay, or if they're really good.
Yeah, this is true. And, it's not like they were playing the Hurricanes or anything, like maybe your Gators played. But it was, at least it was a team. I don't know. It's hard to get anything from this. I'll move on. We'll move on from UCF. I'm sure our listeners are like, oh, these guys always talk UCF.
There were other games on last night, Loudbeard, and the good thing about UCF being a blowout is I got to change the channel and watch some of the other games. Chip Kelly has to be regretting not going to Florida right now.
I'm going to say yes. That is probably the case. But I will say, you look at it and you're like, okay, it's a non-Power 5 opponent and all this. Cincinnati's a really, really good team. And UCLA,
UCLA was 3-9 last year, and they came out and just had no juice. Cincinnati is a team that went across the country and embarrassed Chip Kelly and his squad game one. So you got to think, if you're Chip Kelly, you got a year under your belt, you get your players a year, two spring training camps, 2 fall camps under their belt in your system. Now we're going to go over and we're going to get revenge, and we're going to show those guys. We're going to show the American Conference that they're not a Power 6, and we're going to represent well, and we're going to start the season off right. and they just looked, especially on offense. That's Chip Kelly's thing. He's supposed to be this offensive guru. They couldn't get anything going, Loudbeard. And I know Cincinnati's got a really good defense, but I think they ended up with like 5 turnovers, and it should have been 6, 7, 8 turnovers because there were so many fumbles that UCLA just got the bounce right to fall in their hands, and there was a few dropped interceptions by Cincinnati, or one of those ones where it's like, if he would have been there like a split second earlier, he would have picked that off. UCLA looked really bad. They look like they're in for another 3-9, 4-8 season.
They easily could be. I mean, they easily could be. And I was looking at some of the box score on this one, and one of the statistics that stuck out to me is the quarterback for UCLA. He was like 8 for 26, and I'm thinking, man, you gotta have a little bit higher completion ratio. I mean, that makes Brandon Wimbush look like a superstar.
Yeah, I saw that during the game too. He had turnovers galore, missed throws galore. It was bad, man. It was bad. I don't know if Cincy can hang their hat on this because of how bad UCLA played.
Yeah, and you might be right. You might be right on that one. That was a tough matchup. And again, we're talking week 1 of college football, so we're seeing a lot of mistakes, right? We talked in UCF, Brandon Wimbush making some mistakes. That Florida Gator Miami Hurricane game, tons of mistakes there, and even the Cincinnati UCLA game. A lot of these teams aren't quite fine-tuned yet, so we're going to see some, but it is a little bit of an indication of what the season's going to look like because, yeah, UCLA, they just don't have the juice, and I think back, how high was Chip Kelly, man? He was living it up in Oregon, and he brought that team to just such a great point, and then he comes to pro football, and that Eagles team, they have like one really great year, right? They make the playoffs, and they're doing good, and then all of a sudden it just falls off a cliff, and he hasn't been the same guy since. He hasn't been able to replicate what he once was able to do, and I think of a guy that just completely fallen off of a cliff. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, and I say he regrets not going to Florida because Florida has more talent than UCLA, and Florida has more history than UCLA in football. I just don't know. Like, I'm not trying to sound like the bitter girlfriend because part of me also says I'm kind of glad he went to UCLA because if that's what he's going to bring to the table, man, even though Florida looked frustrating, we at least won.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got the win. And that's something you got to hang your hat on. You just got to move forward. So some of these other games last night, and now I didn't get a chance to watch them because I was going back and watching the UCF game, but some of the bigger names that were out there, Clemson played last night. They get a good win over Georgia Tech, 52-14. Probably nothing notable in this one other than we know Clemson's going to be good this year, right? We know they're going to be good. Texas A&M? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Georgia Tech. I was watching a little bit of that game. It's going to be at least a year for Georgia Tech because you can tell they wanted to run a more modern offense. They just don't have the players for it yet.
Yeah, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years. You got to get in a couple good recruiting classes for your system.
When you've been running a wishbone, running the quarterback all the time, triple option type offense, it's really hard to just be like, okay, now we're going to throw the ball all the time.
Is that the really legacy of George O'Leary?
Yeah. Like, it's really hard to go from running the ball 50 times a game to passing it 40 times a game.
Yeah, and it takes time. That's one of those things that takes time. And it's a tough opponent to go up against week 1. Clemson.
Yeah.
You go against the number 1 team in the nation. So you're going to get tested. And, yeah, Georgia Tech, if they can pull it together in the next 2 to 3 years, they could go back to being a relevant team. Unfortunately, right now, they're irrelevant, right? There's not a whole lot to say about it.
Yeah, like Brandon Wimbush, he's the triple option quarterback you want. The guy that can throw the ball when you need him to, but can also run 50 times a game and run the triple option. That's what basically Georgia Tech has.
Gotcha. Other games that were going on last night, Texas A&M, they played against Texas State, 41-7. Jimbo starts his campaign this season out with a big W. So, again, when you play a team like Texas State, you're not really getting challenged too much. But they weren't able to run the score up too high, 41 there to 7. Okay, is what it is in state rivalry, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, in-state
you don't have
rivalry,
much
if
to
that's
say
what-
too.
if that's I mean it's Texas A&M versus Texas State. I don't even think that game was on TV last night. If it was,
Yeah.
it's probably on ESPN3. And I
Or
didn't feel
the
like
Ocho.
switching over from my YouTube TV over to my ESPN Plus.
All right, last one I'll even mention, and that's Utah versus BYU. Now, Utah's got high expectations this season, coming in at number 14 in the preseason poll. High expectations there. They get a nice victory over BYU, who's a pretty, decent opponent. 30-12 is the final in this one.
Yeah. I'm started to want to watch that game, but then I was like, I'm going to bed. So I have no input on this game.
Okay, there we go. It's good stuff. We'll take that. Here's a big news in regular NFL football, pro football. I won't say regular because it's all regular football, but pro football. Ryan Fitzpatrick officially named the starter for the Miami Dolphins. The new era is here. The hype is real, and I am ready for it.
All right, so they'll have a good 3 weeks to open up the season and then go back to quarterback controversy.
Yes. That's exactly what it's going to be. I mean, that's the cycle of Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're in it. We're used to it. I don't know what Miami's thinking. The problem is Ryan Fitzpatrick can be a good quarterback. He shows glimpses of what it takes to be a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. The problem is it's just glimpses. How is this guy not able to do a full season of this? He only knows how to do really well for a select number of small games, and then all of a sudden falls apart. And he's almost done it for a full season. He had a year with the Jets a few years back where he looked good for like 16 weeks. And then in week 17, when they needed a win to get into the playoffs, he fell apart. And that's what you're going to get. So the Dolphins, I don't know if they're going to get 2 weeks of good Ryan Fitzpatrick, 10 weeks, but we know what the ceiling is. He's going to fall apart at some point. So by week 16 or 17, it's going to be tragic. And Dolphins are going with it anyway.
Yeah.
And what does that tell you about Josh Rosen? What does that tell you about
him? I don't know, man. You get picked pretty high. I mean, what was he, the number 10 pick in the draft?
Yeah, I believe so.
The third quarterback taken in that draft, I believe, as well. Maybe the fourth. I can't remember how many went in that top 10. I know it was Kyler Murray and that guy to the Jets that will be soon be as forgettable as I'm forgetting his name right now.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, to go from that, Sam Darnold, there you go. To go from that to your team giving up on you and trading you, to the team that traded for you giving up on you and going with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, as you're saying that, it's very tragic. I mean, you go that high of a draft pick, and you think, okay, I'm going to get an opportunity to play in the NFL. You get out there, you have an opportunity, and your team, after one season's like, nope, we're moving on. And
Uh-oh. Don't tell me I lost Loudbeard right before the commercial break again. Why does this always happen, Loudbeard? Right when I have a tease ready to go, and I'm ready to hit it, and you go away.
Yeah, you know what? The hurricane, the bands are already floating out. I don't know what it is. Once a show, maybe twice a show, I get this little trouble connecting to internet issue. Maybe I need to get like a booster for my router because my router is on the opposite end of the studio, a.k.a. my house. And so like upstairs in the far bedroom in the closet is where the router is, and I'm out like in the studio all the way in the front of the house. So maybe I need to relocate that. I don't know what I need to do, but I'll figure it out on this commercial break. Well, I don't have a tease. Loudbeard, you got a good tease for us?
I do have a good tease. We're talking about Josh Rosen. We're talking about giving him another opportunity. We're talking about all these fun games that happened last night, but none of that was as important as to what went down last night for a guy that needed a second opportunity, who needed a redemption, if you will. We'll find out who that guy is on the other side
All
of the break. God,
I was
always
a little premature.
Loudbeard. Always premature.
That's what my wife said. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Good morning and welcome back. Thank you all for listening in. We absolutely appreciate it. Once again, we're Scout Team Radio. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. We also simulcast on the Full Press Radio Network, and we are a part of the Barn Burner Podcast Network. We're everywhere and anywhere. If you're not able to catch the show live, that's okay. You can catch us on demand. You can go and download that podcast. You can find the podcast anywhere you find podcasts. Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, any of the major players out there. Go check them out. You can find us. Just search Scout Team Radio. Also get interactive with us on Twitter. It's been kind of a quiet day on Twitter, but that's okay. We understand. It's Friday. It's been a long week. Sometimes you need a little break from Twitter. Your thumbs, they start getting wore out from tweeting so much. But hit us up at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. We would appreciate it. We love getting some interaction. We love hearing from all of our listeners out there. I retweeted on our Scout Team Radio Twitter page this morning. Mike Berlon, a longtime listener and good friend of the show, host of Craft Brewed Sports. Last night they had their show, and Mike afterwards pays off his Hell is Real bet. He does the Fire and Ice Challenge, and he actually shows up a little bit this time. I will say he does the beer bong funnel, and if you want to get a video of that, we have retweeted it out on the Scout Team Radio page. Make sure you check it out. I believe he has redeemed himself. So that is good. That is good.
That is good. I came in late. Who redeemed themselves?
Mike Berlon. He did the Fire and Ice Challenge last night. I retweeted it on our Twitter page, Scout Team Radio. And you can take a look at it if you want, Chris America. I don't know if you had a chance, but he takes the beer bong and funnels a blue Smirnoff Ice through a beer bong. And He did it very gracefully. It looked like he was a professional Smirnoff Ice chugger, is what it looked like. And I don't know that you want that title, but he has earned it.
Well, Ladbeard, way to steal my thunder with the tease that I had.
Oh, was that your tease? Damn
Yeah,
it,
that was
my
the
bad.
person who had to redeem themselves. That was the thing that happened last night. That was way better than all the football and all the Miami Dolphins talk. And you just.
That's what happens when I really didn't pay attention to what you said for the tease. I was
No,
like over
that's
here,
okay.
like, okay, I gotta cue up the commercials. Oh,
That's okay.
I
I
gotta
was gonna
get
play the
music
video,
ready.
but you know what? They can find it themselves. I'm over it.
Son of a biscuit.
That's okay. It's okay.
Play the video.
No, we're good.
Play the damn video. Just do it. I feel bad now. No, I don't feel
You don't
bad.
have to
I
feel
really
bad.
don't. I don't care.
I'm just giving you crap.
I know.
let's see if
I
still have it.
do
Okay,
want to
here
hear
we
the
go.
video. You got it queued up? Our fans want to hear it. Our listeners.
Hopefully, it's a good video to listen to. I haven't watched it yet.
To Jenny of Ohio.
Let's rewind it. There we go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mike from Craft Root Sports. I hate to admit it, but I lost the bet again to Jenny of Ohio on the Hell is Real matchup. This one wasn't even close. I don't. Even
He
get
sounds
the
so
benefit of
dejected.
watching her do the Fire and Ice challenge too.
I was thinking the same thing.
FC Cincinnati completely let me down in much the same way that I let everybody down the last time I tried to do this when I could not chug the Smirnoff.
He's
It
not
hurt
wrong.
really bad that Fireball even tweeted at me and said that they were disappointed. That really hurt the ego quite a bit. So I feel like this time around, since FC Cincinnati got beat so badly, I got to step the game up a little bit. I got to redeem myself. So I got the Fireball here again. Shout out to Jenny of Ohio, Columbus Crew for winning the Hell is Real. I got the Fireball, and I went and bought more of the blue Smirnoff Ice.
We get no shout out this time, Loudbeard. He hates us.
But I'm not going to do
It's kind of our fault.
normal Smirnoff ice to make up for my horrible performance last time. We're going a beer bong this time around.
I believe that's a Smirnoff bong there, sir.
Oh, this
Smirnoff
is such a bad
Ice.
idea.
Yeah.
An
it's
ice
not a beer
bong, if you will.
That's not beer.
I'm going to try to bong instead. This is going to be awful. No excuses this time around, Jenny. Crew just crushed it in Cincinnati, too. That was the worst part, to watch FC Cincinnati get crushed. Friends were at the game. They said people were leaving the Bailey early. Just an all-around disappointing game for FC Cincinnati. We'll get you next year. We'll run this back again next year and do the same bet. So until next year, hell is real. Cheers.
He sounds like a coach that knows he's about to get fired,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah. He's like, the guys did their best out there. We've coached them
Yeah.
up as good as that.
Yeah. Columbus Crew, our opponent, they just played better than us. There he goes. The old salute. No words after that. There are no words when you take a shot of Fireball and then you beer bong down or beer funnel down some Smirnoff Ice. No words to really say after that.
All right. Well, okay. Let's. I don't have anything else to say either. I'm speechless, so I'm gonna move on.
Well,
I'm gonna move on to a draft.
Let's move on to our draft, Loudbeard. And to start off our draft, I'm going to go with a funny tweet that I found from Floridians. It's one of the things we do here in Florida. Is we like to make jokes at hurricanes coming, and here's one that we had here. It says, "The rest of the country, Florida, we will have you in our prayers under this trying time. We would not wish this devastation upon anyone. Floridians, we are the honey badger, grabs bottle of booze and cigarettes. We give no Fs, rises up on a cloud of mosquitoes. We are not a species meant to last. Load shotgun to shoot hurricane with. Our everyday weather and wildlife can kill us, but doesn't. Drop kicks a gator. We are the Australia of the U.S. Holds up Florida flag as eagle screeches overhead. We fear nothing. America, bring it on."
Preach. Amen, brother. That is what I'm talking about.
My friend just sent me that says, like, if you're evacuating for the storm, you need to take your Salt Life sticker off your truck.
It's true. It's true.
So, Ladmir, you said you did lots of lots of research and everything.
Like 30 seconds before the show.
Yeah. Who has first pick? I can't remember who picked first last week.
I think it's your turn. I feel like I
Is
did
it my
last
turn?
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick first, Loudbeard, and I'm just gonna do it. I always play the safe route. I can't not make this pick, but mostly because I want to make this point about it, and I'm not sure if you'll make the point about it. But my number one overall pick for your hurricane preparation party list is light beer, Loudbeard. It's the one and only time where you don't make fun of somebody for grabbing light beer, and it could be really any light beer of your choice, even if you want to grab some good old Michelob Ultra, because under these certain situation, you need to still be safe. You need to stay hydrated. You still need to drink water, so you need to drink water like Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller's Light, Mich Ultra, Natter Day Light, those kinds of things. You want just a light beer that just goes down smoothly. You can chug a bunch of. You don't want an IPA during a hurricane, especially if the power goes out, Loudbeard. It's no bueno.
Yeah, no, I can dig that. I think you've got some very valid points, and you came across very intelligent with the way you described your first pick. So well said, sir. I'm going to go in a different direction now. I want to make sure that I'm picking the right things here. So these are things that we would grab for supplies for a hurricane party, right? It's not just food, but it's like any supply.
Oh, it's any supply. I got non-food drink items as well.
Okay, good. I want to make sure I got that correctly. So this is the number one consequence to hurricanes that happens every time. So we've got Hurricane Matthews and Hurricane Irmas and Hurricane Dorians. And every time we have one of these hurricanes, about 9 months later, the hospitals have a surge in deliveries. And you have little babies running around, little Dorians and little Irmas and little Matthews and little Charlies. And so what I go ahead and I'm going to say to all of our listeners out there, if you're going to have a hurricane party and you're going to be in a close confined area for maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, 36 hours, and there's going to be somebody of the opposite sex that you're attracted to, whether it is a significant other or maybe somebody that you're just into, I would recommend purchasing a pack of condoms. This is the only way that you can protect yourself from having a little hurricane baby running around 9 months later. So make sure that you protect yourself and you protect yourself.
I like that, Loudbeard. See, we're going safety first out of here because we still want you to be safe during this hurricane party, right?
Yeah, the safety is important.
Now, Loudbeard, a true Floridian has one of these for this type of things. When you look at your hurricane kit, they actually tell you here in Florida that you need to have a box full of hurricane supplies, which usually, if you listen to the news, it will consist of boring stuff like batteries and, lanterns and stuff like this. But I add something else that they don't tell you to have, Loudbeard, and I think it's essential for when the power goes out, and also, Loudbeard, the cell phone towers. They get a little hectic to where your service is a little spotty, right? Once the hurricane starts coming through. So I suggest you have your old iPod Shuffle. So that way you can keep the music going once the cell phone towers go out and your power goes out. You need some form of entertainment to keep you going. And the iPod Shuffle with your old downloaded playlists is a good call. You can't go wrong with any music you were listening to in 2004. Any music you had downloaded to your iPod Shuffle in 2004 is still good today.
Well said, sir. Well said. I had on my list battery-operated music player, but you went very specific and said iPod Shuffle.
Because, again, the iPod Shuffle doesn't rely on any signals of any sort. So you're never going to have to worry about electricity or, streaming services or anything like that.
Okay. All right, I see where you're going with this. You're good.
And if you go with the radio sucks in Orlando. Like you can turn to whatever station and they're going to be talking about the hurricane. They're not going to be playing music. It sucks.
Yeah, we don't want any of that madness. So I think you've given me an opportunity here. I think I have a very golden opportunity. You went with a specific light beer. I'm going with another beverage, but it is not a beer. It is a beverage that's going to help protect you. It's a beverage that's going to make you feel stronger. It's a beverage that may protect you in case there are certain laws that are out there in the world. Maybe police are out there roaming the streets and you want to go out in the middle of a hurricane.
Yeah.
Guess what, Chris America? There ain't no laws when drinking Claws. This will protect you and your family, so make sure that you have plenty of White Claws on tap.
This is true.
Upcoming
This is true,
hurricane.
because I think this is our first hurricanes where White Claws were really a thing. Like, I know White Claw's been around for a while, but this is the first summer that the nation has just taken off on this White Claw craze. And that's why I didn't have it on my... Good call, Loudbeard. Good looking out.
You're welcome.
Well, Loudbeard, one of my favorite things to do during a hurricane is the Frisbee throw challenge. You will never be able to throw a Frisbee quite as far as you can when there's 120-mile-an-hour winds outside. So I suggest you and your buddies get at least 10 to 15 Frisbees, because once you throw this Frisbee, it is gone forever. You are never seeing this Frisbee again. So go ahead and get 10 to 15, so that way when you lose them, you have more to throw. So I'm going with some good old Frisbees. Have a little fun outside. By the way, the opinions you hear are those of the host and tweeters. They do not represent 12 Ounce Sports Radio or actually the Scout Team Radio Business LLC.
Wow, that's
and
a quality
don't try
pick
this at
there.
home.
All right, so this next one, it's a food, but I think the process needs to be described a little bit on radio. It's not gonna, when we tweet about this list, people aren't gonna really quite understand what I'm saying. But the night before the hurricane comes, a lot of businesses start closing up, and you've got all your preparations, and you realize you got a bunch of snacks and all that, but you're just tired. You've been preparing along for this hurricane all week long. It's emotionally exhausting, and you just sit back. You have either your White Claw in hand or your light beer, and you need something to eat, right? And you're like, what do I want to eat? And you pick up your phone and you're like, you know what? I don't want to make anything. It's been a long week. I just need something delivered. And you realize you call around town and every place is closed except that one pizza place. And that one pizza place, whether it's a Marco's or a local joint and Little Anthony's, because that's the name of every small Italian pizza place, or wherever, there's always that one pizza place that stays open until the 10 minutes before the hurricane's going to hit. And you call and you order a pizza. It may be a 6.5-hour wait for it to be delivered to you, but you order that damn pizza because you want your pizza. So yes, pizza and a beautiful 6.5-hour delivery wait is my next item on my Fantasy Friday draft.
And pizza's a great item because you can eat it cold. It actually tastes great cold. So even if you don't eat the pizza right when it gets there, you're like, no, we're saving this for tomorrow morning, because I think that's when the hurricane's supposed to hit, is early tomorrow morning. And that's what kind of sucks about this hurricane, is it's coming in super early in the morning. So I guess that's good because you get to party, then you get to go to sleep, but you might wake up hungover with the power out, which kind of sucks, but that is what it is. You learn to
That's
deal
why you
with
need
it.
all that water. That's why all that bottled water gets sold off the
all
shelves
that bottled
for hangovers.
water comes in. Yep.
You gotta hydrate.
Loudbeard, I'm gonna go a little bit boring, but it's still essential to what you need, and you need some good card games. Whether that's it's not Crimes Against Humanity. What is it? Words Against Humanity? Is that the name of the game? I can never remember it.
Cards Against
Humanity. There we go.
It's
Cards Against Humanity.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah, whether it's Cards Against Humanity, some good old-fashioned Uno or Phase 10, or just, a good deck of 52 regular playing cards. You need some good entertainment once you run out of Frisbees and the storm gets a little too dangerous. I said 120 miles an hour winds. If it gets above 130, that's when you need to head inside.
Okay. All right, you have good advice there. Okay, so I got the fourth pick here for myself, and I'm going up against you. You've got the juggernaut of a list going on right now. A lot of good quality things going on there, and I'm just trying to think of what would be next to bring to a good hurricane party. And this supply is it's an interesting way for me to put it, but I'm gonna say you got to have good friends. This is the problem. You go to a hurricane party And I'm thinking back to my college days because now, I got the family. We're probably going to just stay here with the family. It's not like a big hurricane party. But back in 2004, when I was living my good life as a young college student going through a hurricane disaster, you got to pick the right hurricane party to go to. And you got to go to the one where you got the good friends at. If you go to a hurricane party where you're just like, we're acquaintances or I don't know you that well, things can get real awkward real quick. You got to go to the party where you have the best friends and the good people and the great acquaintances. And that, to me, it's all about the people. So my next pick is good people is the next supply that you have to have for your hurricane party.
Yeah, and I want to throw this one in here too, Ladbeard, because if you're still picking today, whether you're inviting people or deciding which one to go to, you also got to go with the ones with good couples. You do not want to go with one that can't even make it through a round of trivia without arguing. Like if you've gone out with this couple before and they're down each other's throats during trivia, this is not somebody you want to ride. These are not people you want to ride a hurricane out with.
I agree with you 100%, Chris America. And we have a good tweet coming in here. Memphis Spence just tweeted in. He says, Spades games during the hurricane party are intense. Now, Memphis Spence, I do have to say to you, be safe, my friend. I know you are in the state of Florida also, so you are under the same precautions that we're under, so be safe.
I think right now he's out of the cone of despair, and it would go across the whole entire state to get to him. But, yes, please be safe. And he does bring up a good point. Spades may not be the game you want to play because they'll be like, how did Memphis Spence die through the hurricane? Well, sort of. I mean, the hurricane was there. Like, it was in the background, but he died because the Spades game got too intense. It's almost like saying
casualty
is God, now I can't think of it. Die Hard, is that a Christmas movie? Like, yeah, the Christmas stuff is in the background, but that's not what happened.
I gotcha. All right, well,
so it's
Chris
my
America,
pick now, right?
Your final pick is coming up, and we only got 2 minutes left of the show, so I guess we better
I'm going to go with, since now it's legal here, I'm going to go with the good old prescription and edibles.
All right. I didn't see that one coming. That actually caught me off guard. That was that was good.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm writing it down.
And edibles. Because, I want you to
I
make
think
sure
it's
you
just
do
edibles.
this. I want you to be legal.
Edibles.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I get it. Yeah. Well, there's no laws when you're drinking claws, but there is laws when you're smoking weed. And the next one is me, and I'm looking at my list here. I got a few things. I think I'm gonna go safe. Maybe not. I'm gonna throw it out there. Screw it. There's one thing you need for your hurricane party, and that's you don't know what's gonna happen, right? There's the unknowing of how this is all gonna end. If it is a very bad hurricane and you're gonna be stuck surviving for the next 3 months, you need a food that's not gonna ever expire. And to me, that food that'll last forever, if it ends up being a hurricane apocalypse, you're going to need some Spam. Because not only can you eat it at the party and gross your friends out, you can also eat it for an eternity. So bring a giant package of Spam. It'll last forever. I'm going Spam with my final pick.
I thought you were going to go with ramen noodles.
That also would have been a quality pick, except you need to boil water and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You don't got to do anything with Spam. Just open it and eat it.
Yeah, it's like a can of cat food, but for people.
Yeah, I went with edibles. You went with inedibles.
That's true. So what were some of your runners up here? You got any real quick before we finish up the show?
No, honestly, I was just kind of going off the top of my head as we went. I didn't write anything down. I had nothing prepared for this. I just went off of my 36 years of being a Floridian.
All right, that was pretty good. I had a couple in here. Nothing too crazy. I had games also, but I specifically went with Twister. I was like,
Twister's a good one.
Yep, Twister's fun for a little hurricane party.
It's a good theme party.
Yep.
Got to get a little Twister going on in your hurricane.
Yeah, a little punny. Red Solo cups. I like that one because you can use them for beer pong. You can use them to drink out of. And then at the end of the party, you're like, okay, everybody left because it wasn't that bad of a hurricane. I just throw all these cups away. I don't have to clean
That's
up,
right.
do dishes
You're
or
good.
anything. There you go.
Mhm.
Red Solo cups are good. Snacks, I just love cheesy poofs. They're one of my favorites. A grill, you got to have a charcoal grill or a propane
A
grill,
propane
something
grill,
to
yeah.
be able to
That'll
cook.
work.
And then a cooler full of ice. You can put your food in there afterwards. If your power goes out, always got to have a cooler full of ice. And that, to me, would be a great hurricane party, Chris America.
Yes, sir. Hit us with that outro music.
It's
We
been
will
hitting.
see you whenever. We don't know. We'll let you guys know on
hopefully-
Twitter when we'll be back live.
Hopefully again soon.
I'm hoping Tuesday, at least.
In the middle
we'll
of
be
the
back
hurricane.
Monday. Maybe the storm will take a turn and we can be on air Monday.
I like your optimism.
Oh wait, Monday's Labor Day. Maybe we should just take it off anyways.
Yeah. I
All
am.
right, we'll
Don't
see you
worry.
Tuesday. Hopefully.
You can show up on your own.
Peace.